for joining the 102nd Synergia Forum. As you know, we will be discussing a topic that's dominated the news in terms of retrospective tax laws, India's global road ahead, the Kane Energy case, and the consequences of it.
And the goal is to address a twofold problem. Number one, how do you protect investors? Number two, how do you ensure that other states reciprocate that sentiment when your investors invest in other countries?
The retrospective amendment is a clarificatory amendment. It talks about what is the intention of the legislature all through, so far as Section 9 is concerned. The Supreme Court, after referring to Section 9, said that it doesn't have a look-through approach. The government, after amending, said that it was always the intention of the legislature that Section 9 always had a look.
With respect to investment treaties, I think the challenge here comes from the fact that we have old generation treaties and new generation treaties. And depending where you sit in time, the approach to taxation measures might be different. For example, old generation treaties do not generally exclude from their scope taxation measure disputes. Also, few treaties address this interaction between double taxation treaties, the DTTs, and the investment treaty. In case of discrepancies between the two, which one prevents?
Because we need to look at taxation in the experiential reality and the practicality sense of how multinational corporations operate, how foreign investors operate. They often, and I think this is a truism and no one could debate it, they often are looking to find favorable tax scenarios. There are many pass-through entities. There are many what Mr. Prasad described as paper entities. This is the nature of international business in many respects.
I don't think there's a powerful argument that there's a general principle of international law that says tax claims are not arbitrable. So I think you're not operating in a background where people can point to that to say this is already carved out and you have to opt in. We have a regime that's been in place for decades which accepts that you can agree to arbitrate tax disputes, and then most treaties have to decide how they regulate how much and how you're able to bring tax-related disputes.
Because the position in India is not as clear as we all thought of it to be, and which has also been muddied, I think a little bit more because of the two decisions of the Delhi High Court and Khaitan Holdings and Vodafone, where the issue of anti-arbitration injunction was brought in before the court, and there were certain remarks that were made by the court in the context of whether or not investment awards would actually fall within the Indian Arbitration Act, and therefore the parties would be able to enforce them as foreign awards under the new document.
I think it's important that each treaty has a purpose for it, a purpose which the states have envisaged. And the irony lies when tribunals broadly interpret such treaties, especially with clauses like fair and equitable. What is fair and equitable to you? You would have a different standard for what is fair and equitable. I might have a different.
That obviously everyone would be keenly watching what happens next, because this also comes at a very sensitive time for India in terms of its optics, in terms of its geopolitical ramifications, because this is a time when we just had a summit with the EU, 27 heads of state in the EU, and we are looking to conclude a comprehensive pact on investments. So possibly all these developments and the spate of losses that India has had at these arbitration tribunals will be watched by potential investors.